Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another weekly analysis video. Hope you guys had a great trading week. Hope it was a great week in general. Kind of interesting week. I think we saw a bit of a shift in momentum and a shift in kind of the conditions. But overall, you know, hope you guys still had a great trading week. Sorry, had my thing up there. Hope you guys still had a great trading week. Hope you guys followed your plans. Hope you guys followed your levels. For me personally, it was a pretty break even week. I think I'm only, or not even break even. I'm only down like $100 for the week. Still pretty good. I took some pretty good trades, some really mistimed ones, but overall pretty good. But have a small announcement, and I think it's best to say it here out of the way. I will be stopping and doing kind of a shift from doing these weekly analysis videos. Not because I don't like them, not because they're getting bad views or anything. Quite the opposite, you know. Not a big YouTuber right now. I kind of just like doing these weekly analysis for my own personal and to really share my journey to hopefully one day doing this possibly full time, but or even having my own possible business out of this, but to guide you guys through the journey. And I wish during my start I had someone there that kind of showed me that guidance. And so yeah, that's one of the things I kind of want to do with this. And so it's not because of that, but it's quite the opposite. Actually, this Saturday or next week, actually in exactly a week, I won't be home. I'll be gone for 2 months. I'll have an internship upstate. And so I won't be able to day trade anymore just because I'll be fully focused on my internship. However, I will be doing a shift into swing trading, and so that's something that really been wanting to do for quite a bit. Wanted to really kind of do it with both the day trading aspect, but now that I have my internship and I won't be able to look at the market day to day, I'll be shifting over to swing trading, which is obviously I'll be doing options. I won't be doing futures. I'll be doing options, and this is going to be more on kind of an industrial look, and that's something I've learned throughout the way. I'll be looking at kind of sector rotations, right? Which sectors are outperforming others? What kind of conditions are we in? And so that's something I'll hope to explain along the way. But again, I'm still going to be uploading videos, but they're not going to be these weekly analysis videos that for day trading. They're going to be mainly now for swing trading, kind of position analysis, what I expect to do. Even give you guys full transparency on what positions I currently have and what positions I'm going to close and what I'm eyeing out for the week or in general. But that's what I plan to do. Obviously, when I come back from my internship, I'll be fully focused on trading again, and I'll be sure to go back to uploading these videos. But for the time being, for the next 2 months, I'll be uploading swing trading videos. I'll see how often I do them, but the main goal is to definitely do it once a week, the same way I did it with the weekly analysis videos. So still videos coming up. Now it's just going to be a new type of video. It's going to be that swing trading, right? And so it's still a journey for me as well. I would say I have more experience day trading, but swing trading, the same principles apply. When it comes to risk management, when it comes to executing, always and even always just sticking true to the market structure and sticking true to your levels that you have predetermined. And so it's never going against the trend. It's actually, I would say, swing trading, you have a higher chance to actually succeed just because you're not paying attention to the smallest details intraday. You're actually just focusing on the macro sense. You're not trying to time the market like it is day trading, but instead you're actually holding positions based on future outlook and potential, growth or even fall from companies. But other than that, get straight into the video. For the weekly analysis videos, well, to actually start it off, this week was actually not too bad. You can see right here. We did have a pretty good trade. I believe it was one of these days. It was actually a pretty lucky one just because I accidentally closed out of it, but it ended up working because I caught the bottom. And so other than that, it was a pretty good week. We did see a bit of shifting, and so if I were to go to the fixed CPO here, and let me just hide all this stuff. I know it looks lackluster, but I promise it's not bad. Um, if you were to look at there, and actually it even gives you kind of an insight of what we're expecting to look throughout the week. But if you look at an insight, something I like to look at is this white area, this white. You see it on the fixed TPO, right? You kind of see it on the weekly TPO as well. It's kind of this blue area, but that's what I call value, right? And so I sometimes like to consider it as targets, and it's really important. However, value is kind of what it sounds like, right? What the market right now, or what market participants consider valuable, what they consider is a fair point, right? And you can see that a lot of the times, or actually not a lot of the times, every time it kind of revolves around kind of that where the most amount of volume was transacted, right? You can see right here, most volume, most volume, most volume. And so biggest thing you like to see whenever the market is uptrending, going in that bullish resume, you want to see value continue higher. What that means is that market participants are accepting higher prices. They find the higher prices valuable, and that's what you want to see continuation when it comes to, a bullish resume, which is currently what we stand at, right? Market has been rallying since April, and so it's right now we are in a bullish resume. So what you want to see is kind of, that continuation. And you can really see value starts down here, shifts higher. We see a small pause, continues to shift higher, continues to shift higher, continues to shift higher. Another thing is when you start to kind of see a bit of slowdown, right? And now you could see it here, but again, we didn't see continuation to the downside. The market actually opened this day and actually wasn't able to continue lower, and we reclaimed back into this value range, and then we continued higher. But the biggest thing is when you see a kind of a shift of momentum, right? So that's exactly what I was looking for, and that's something I told the Discord is we had Monday right here, but on Tuesday we saw that there was a shift of value starting to pause, right? Similar to this day, but it was starting to get lower, right? You can now see that value is shifting lower, and then the next day confirmed it, value shifting lower. And so what this gave me once I saw this is that there was a possibility that we were a bit slowing down on the long-term side, and shorts or sellers were going to make presence for quite a bit. What does that mean? Again, we are still in a bullish resume. That means we're still in a bullish market, right? There is still, the general outlook is still to the upside. But when you start to see value start to shift down, that gives you kind of a sign that possibly buyers are kind of out of fuel right now, and we could be heading to lower prices just for buyers to pick it up again. And so again, this was confirmed on this Wednesday when we saw it, and then we saw even the daily one-time frame up start to fail. We even saw the weekly one-time frame up fail on Friday. We actually were able to break below. And so again, it kind of gives you a sense that we are actually still, we're starting to slow down a bit. We're starting to slow down. Now, what does that mean, right? It doesn't mean that right now we're going to sell it and there's going to be a large market sell-off. It just means that there's a potential for a temporary pullback. And that's actually what we saw, right? You even see it right there, that once value started to shift, we even got that pullback close to that 5% correction level where, it is possible that buyers were there, which is a level we were watching. Now, with that being said, it's something really important now to look throughout the week, right? You can kind of see it on here that the biggest levels I had was kind of that 5% correction level. However, if we do not hold this 5% correction level and we continue to shift value lower, it is very possible that we do see kind of these 55.50s where we saw that 10% correction along with these 55.20s. That is where I expect buyers to load up and then possibly aim higher. So when I start swing trading, this is actually an area where I'm going to gauge the market conditions. I'm going to look at different industries. Are we able to show some strength in some industries, show some pullbacks in some companies where I'm able to swing trade those, right? If the market does hold in that, just because we are still in a bullish resume. Now, with that being said, if we do break below it now, if we do come below, break it, and retest it, then I start to get a bit more cautious, and then that's when I'm like, okay, there's a possibility we target these April lows, right? We target those April lows. But with that being said, you can kind of see how this value does show a bit of shift in momentum, right? We saw that value kind of slow down. We saw it once last week. It was unable to continue lower, but we saw it the previous day, and the next week, and we saw that value started to shift lower, and then it gave us that valuable pullback. Now today, I wouldn't really worry about the market. Today is Memorial Day, so it's a holiday. So really don't focus on the market. I'll actually be like removing this profile. It won't be as important. But for the weekly profile, the biggest things I will be watching is you can see I will be watching this 59.20s to these 59.08s. Significance behind that is we see this low volume node right here. We see that low volume node, so that's 59.20s, that kind of that high of that low volume node, which we kind of want to see. That came from that large distribution of volume. This is the most volume that we can see based off that. You can even see it based off the point of control here. We had that large volume, and then we sold off, and we had a nice little sell off to the downside, and we left that low volume node. And to me, I find that the most important compared to this one right here, just because that we sold off from where the most significant amount of volume was. So if we are able to reclaim above these 59.20s, expect the point of control to be tested of this week, and then possibly, that week's high. And so, and it aligns with that 59.08 is because it's kind of that 20-day point of control. It gives you kind of that the point of control for the last 20 days, and you can see that this is kind of where that majority of volume was transacted. So it's possible that that this 59.08 could be really important. So above that could give us some insight to target those 59.20s as well. So I made it into a zone, so just because there's two significant levels. I have that 5% correction. That's just going to be really important throughout the week. And then obviously the weekly bearish is going to be that weekly low at 57.80. Reason behind that is if we break below this, there's a possibility we target that weekly gap. We do target that weekly gap to the downside. So again, be on the lookout for that. Other than that, really not much I could say. Pretty simple. Again, market's still in an uptrend. Market's still into that bullish resume, and I really want to show you guys that, again, we are still uptrending ever since we bounced off that 20% correction level, which was a really good area to possibly take the market long. And I wish I genuinely did. But again, this 5% correction level on this little zone is going to be really important, and this is where we're actually kind of bouncing as of right now. Really important. Ideally, we're going to have to want to see kind of reject below, but again, you can kind of see that low volume node from those 59.20s to the 59.08s. That's kind of going to be really important, just because that's where we sold off after accumulating that large type of volume. But again, we still are in a bullish resume. I just do expect, if this is a possibility of a shorter pullback, of a short-term pullback, I would really want to see more of a pullback down into these 50s, into these 55.20s, to then possibly start to look at longing some long-term positions, targeting all-time highs, right? This to me right now just seems kind of a bit short-term, and if you are to long any positions at the moment, this is kind of just a little heads up of what I'll be talking about. If we are to long any positions as of right here, they're going to be smaller contracts, just because it's going to be a little bit riskier, just because it's not an ideal pullback. But down into these 50s and 20s, I could possibly see it, and that to me is really important to long that market. Other than that, guys, really love making these weekly analysis videos. It's a big passion of mine. Really love it. Really love giving you guys my insight and kind of that growth into my trading journey. But other than that, guys, I will be back. I'll be back at the beginning of August. I'll be back, and I'll be ready to go full front trading again. And then, yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed everything so far. Again, if you guys still have any questions, you can leave it in the comments. I'll be happy to still look at the market there in a while, maybe these weekly profiles. But again, these 59.20s, these 59.08s align with the 20-day volume point of control, and then along with the high of that low volume node, we really want to see a reclaim above that. And then weekly bearish are going to be those 57.80s, right? That weekly low. But other than that, not much to say. Hope you guys have a great trading week. Hope you guys continue to trade well this summer. But yeah, I'll be still looking at the market. I'll just be looking at it more from a long-term perspective. But I really hope that you guys enjoy these videos. I hope you guys are able to also stick through this kind of new phase of this swing trading that I'll be doing this summer. But other than that, got nothing much else to say, guys. Hope you guys have a great summer. Hope you guys have a great next 2 months of day trading, and I'll be back stronger than ever in August to just go full trading mode again. But yeah, peace, guys.